talking with Garry Norris. Garry is owner of Express Employment Professionals in Roanoke, Virginia. And in honor of Junior Achievement's National Entrepreneurship Week, Garry has agreed to talk with us a little bit about his business. He's an entrepreneur. So, Garry, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm delighted to be here.
Okay. And start by telling me a little bit about Express. I know it's been open in Roanoke a number of years. Tell me a little bit about your history here.
Okay. Well, let's go back to the history of the corporation. First of all, we are a franchise organization, which means that each office is independently owned and operated, and we're locally owned and operated, which separates us from some of our competitors who are nationally operated and certainly not locally owned. So that gives us what we think is a distinct advantage as we have much greater roots in the community. The company is now operating with over $2 billion in revenue. So while we are a small company for each of our individually owned franchisees, we are certainly backed by a larger corporation. Again, it gives us a distinct advantage when it comes to local service, but yet national backing. So while the company has gone through a tremendous period of growth, in the meantime, it's certainly put over 3 million people to work at the same time.
That's tremendous growth indeed, too, during those years. Thinking of entrepreneur, how would you define entrepreneurial spirit?
The ability to find, fund, and lead a business to prosperity.
And that's a great definition. Thank you. So when you think back on when you decided to purchase this Express franchise, how did you know it would be successful? How did you know that need was there and you were going to make it work?
I knew that I wanted to go into a business one day that allowed me to go into what I call the professional recruiting and staffing end of the business, so that we helped people find opportunities, place people in great jobs with great companies that gave satisfaction to both them and us. That's what we do here. We find many people jobs that they would never have been able to find on their own, and we find many companies good people that they would not have been able to find on their own. That's what we do, matching good people with good companies.
When it comes to the corporate world, I'm sure you've heard the phrase work-life balance. In other words, don't be at your desk so much that you forget to live.
Right.
How does an entrepreneur keep that balance?
I think it is more difficult to balance for someone that works in a corporate life, because you have a tremendous amount more pressure, because not only because of your peers, but also because of your senior management, because you do report up a hierarchical chain. Here, since the buck stops with me, I'm the owner, I have to be able to set an example for my staff to show them to balance their work life, and also to be able to balance that on my own. Sometimes I'm not always as successful because I'm working Saturdays and Sundays and nights and weekends, but you know what? So does my staff.
Right.
So we kind of work together with each other to figure out what are the right things to do. We also try to have some staff camaraderie and do things as a staff and go out and do some fun things as well.
I'm impressed with the commitment to mission. Tremendous.
Thank you.
Very strong.
Thank you very much.
Do you have a favorite quote or inspirational saying that kind of picks you up if you think about it?
Well, I don't know if you would call this a famous quote or an inspirational saying, but it's what I always remind myself of to keep myself in a reality check. And that is that a desk is a dangerous place from which to view the world. If you don't go out and meet with your clients, if you're not out talking to people, if you're not out in the community and conversing and engraving yourself in the community, then you are not going to be in touch with what's really happening in the world. The other thing about that quote of mine is that if you're sitting at your desk viewing the world and you're not out talking to your clients, somebody else probably is. And it's probably one of your competitors.
Do you think the entrepreneurial spirit existed in you prior to Kodak and the other? Do you think it was in you when you were young?
Yeah. The answer is absolutely, and it's probably because I started working when I was 10 years old. My own delivery route, hustling at grocery stores.
That's an entrepreneur too.
That's definitely entrepreneurship. I didn't do the traditional lemonade stands because we didn't grow up in that kind of environment. But going around house to house, may I cut your grass today? And then starting a lawnmower business at the age of 13, and so on and so on. So it was there. And working at a company like IBM and Kodak, they allow you to be what I'll call an intrapreneur. Because you can do entrepreneurship within companies. You just have to make business cases and present them to those that are above you and beside you and below you so that everybody buys in. But that's how great things come out of big companies also, because you have to have an entrepreneurship spirit. The entrepreneurship spirit comes out when you've made enough money to fund your business, and go out and buy that business, and then live that business and continue to fund it from a capital perspective.
And all that experience and everything comes together. So
Yeah.
let's do it now.
Yeah, I think so.
That's awesome.
And you know when the time is right, because it's not just when the feeling is correct for you. Circumstances may put you in a position where, now it's really time for me to go off and do this.
Let's go after what we've been dreaming of rather than what's right there in front.
Right.
Awesome. Well, Gary, thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome.
Cool here, and appreciate the time. And